Is this or am I coming through? Can you hear me? Is there anyone out there?
Matt, is that you?
Who's
Wow,
Matt?
welcome.
Welcome back. It's
It's
been
been so long.
thanks for getting me off my butt and doing this.
Hey, same here. For anyone who was wondering, for all 11 people that were wondering where we were, we things have just happened, and it's funny. We kept every week we were like, all right, we got to the episode, we got to the episode, um, and then just a pandemic happened, no biggie. So,
So
but now that we're self-quarantining, we are able to do this episode.
back. I don't know about you. I've been quarantining myself for the last 6 months. I was prepared. I heard about this on the dark corners of the internet, so I knew what was coming. I'm just joking. Just joking.
I do like to be inside normally. That's just
Oh,
my
same.
that's my MO. But um, how is it going? I mean, how are you doing? Are you watching stuff or during this
I'm
time or?
I'm working best I can. Some films I have are being delayed and pushed and canceled or whatever. But I am still finishing up quite a few jobs right now. So I've been still very busy, which is kind of interesting. Um, but I'm trying, dude. I have not been able to watch the amount of movies that I would like at this point in 2020. And it's not shameful, but I'm pretty disappointed that I haven't been able to watch a lot of movies. And it's a little depressing. I love movies. I live and breathe movies. And when I don't get to watch movies, it kind of sucks, honestly.
I feel that. It's funny. I kept going on your Letterboxd, and I was like, wow, like usually you watch like two or three movies like over the course of like 2 days, and I haven't seen a lot of activity.
Been
Um,
silent, man.
so yeah, it sucks. I mean, I also haven't really watched much either. I think in the last couple weeks, the only thing I saw was I rewatched Mad Max Fury Road and I saw Harley Quinn, and that was it. Like,
Oh,
it's
cool.
pretty quiet on my end too.
Yeah, man. Like a couple weeks back, I saw Invisible Man, and I loved it. I thought that was a
Oh,
movie. I
I
mean,
want
we're
to
just
see that.
on VOD, but it's a theater movie. But actually, for everybody now, since everybody's going to be hopefully taking the precautions and self-isolating themselves for the next 2 weeks at least, Invisible Man's going to be released by Universal on Friday, VOD. So
That's what I'm talking about. Uh, you know, I was I was really hoping that a lot of movie companies, like I'm happy to pay like $10, $15 um, to like rent a movie that should be in the theaters. I am 100% okay with that.
I totally agree, and I think we might be able to bend our rules a little bit on this show and be like, well, hey guys, Disney released their new Mulan film. It's plus
Yeah,
it's a D movie now. No,
technically it is VOD.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, if that's the course of action it takes, totally.
un Additionally to that, I'm not sure if you listen to the band Code Orange,
Well, yeah, I
but
know who they are.
so they just had a record release show scheduled literally the day of like the lockout or like the weekend of the lockout, and or like shutdown. And what they did was they just played in an empty venue and they twitched it. They like streamed it to Twitch, and they got
Wow.
the guy who does Hate 5 6, which is like the guy who like does every hardcore set, like full set, like multicam shit. It was amazing. They opened up the Twitch for like donations, and to me, they just set the gold standard in terms of how artists and directors and all this other shit are going to make money during this hard time. So I am very excited to see, uh, what how flexible movie theaters, since movie theaters are closed, like how are we going to see these movies and how are the directors going to make money? Like, I feel bad for like A Quiet Place 2. That movie so many people wanted to go see and now you can't.
Right. Yeah, and another one, The Way Back, the Gavin O'Connor, Ben Affleck one. I was super stoked about seeing that. I'm hoping Warner Brothers puts
Oh,
that out on VOD because
that looks
I
so
was
good.
I know, dude, like that looks like a great film, and I'm really really hoping that I get to watch that soon because literally getting ready to go see that at the theater the next time I was going, and now
Mhm.
we're looking at a nationwide shutdown of theaters for the next. AMC was saying up to 12 weeks or something.
Damn.
So,
Well,
I mean,
let's hope that this VOD thing, I mean, it's proven to work. I mean, I think that it can't be free. It's like we need to remember, like we need to support the artists that make this stuff.
right, 100%. Yeah, and if you can't and you don't want to pay, um, again, there's plenty of great options on Tubi that are really
Yes.
more recent horror stuff that's VOD, that's in theaters, you name it. Tubi is really starting to get a expansive catalog, of titles, which is really cool. And another quick little bit of info for one of the 11 that are listening. Um, or maybe 10, right? 9, 8, 7,
We
who knows,
probably
man? But
lost a couple followers, maybe.
that radio silence, man. Uh, but real quick, Shudder right now, I just signed up last
Mm.
night doing a promo um, because of the coronavirus and to encourage people to take the precautions of staying indoors for the next month, actually. And they're doing a 30-day free trial for
That's
Shudder.
so smart.
So I just signed up last night. I got it through mid-April now. So I'll definitely try to start watching a lot of stuff on Shudder as well, which is cool because they have a massive library of titles as well. Lots of exclusives,
Mm.
lots of even Shudder originals, which again I'm way behind on. So I'm like, this is going to be fun. I'll be able to start watching a lot of stuff. So
I, I've always wanted to get Shutter, but I just never
well,
never
now's a good time to try it.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's a fun idea too because honestly, it doesn't it's not anything new, but it's like using their trial as a way to help people stay inside, but also help them make some, money during this time too. Like, um, to be honest, when I heard that movie theaters were shutting down, I the first thing I did was look over at my Blu-ray collection. I was like, thank fuck. Like,
Right.
I'm really happy that after all these people were like going digital, go digital. I mean that doesn't that's no different because digital it doesn't matter, but like to have some physical stuff near me is comforting as much as having like a Voodoo account would be, so all these people who keep your collections close to you and go to those as well. But if there's a way to support a movie that's coming out or ways to support, if you're renting stuff, like don't stream it, like rent it. If it well, stream it legally, but like don't illegally stream it. Try to like support the artists.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, dude. Like, yeah, you gotta support the artists, when and how you can, because especially now, I mean, with people, there's this huge uncertainty. People are, essentially, I don't want to say being laid off, but I mean, with restaurants in a lot of cities and states being forced to close or only to do dine out or take out or drive through, it's like, you know, there's a lot of people in this country, and I'm not getting political here. I'm just stating a fact. There's a lot of people in this country that live paycheck to paycheck. So when something like this happens,
Yeah.
it's really important to support everybody that we can, especially the people that really need the help.
Yeah.
Artists are part of that. I would definitely say artists and filmmakers are part of that because I know plenty, like I can literally name people that their premieres are being canceled nationwide for films
Yeah.
that is their income, and um, it's tough, man. I can't stress it enough how important it is for people to really forget about party politics right now and support each other as humans because that's what we all are when we die. So,
Whew, I just got goosebumps, Matt.
but
I'm gonna vote for
anyways,
you for
speaking
yeah.
of goosebumps, man, what about this Doom Annihilation film? I got some
Whew.
goosebumps from.
Yeah. It's funny. We're talking. It's funny how long it took us to do this episode, and Doom Eternal comes out in 3 days on PlayStation. I
Wait, are
believe it
you
comes out on
kidding?
Xbox. Yeah. No, no. Yes. No, I'm not. I'm not kidding. Doom, the follow-up from Doom 2016. So maybe this was meant to happen. Maybe we were supposed to wait this long. And yeah.
Yeah.
So
And that Doom 2016 one was pretty cool, actually. I thought.
I loved that game. I thought
Yeah,
that
I
was
thought
great.
it was
It got
challenging.
a
It was
little,
fun.
yes, it got a little too challenging, and I ended up stopping
Yes,
playing it.
definitely. Same here.
But I'm
Same.
most likely gonna pick up Eternal, because I actually started playing. The Nintendo Switch was selling Doom 3 for $2 recently, the one that came out on Xbox. So
Wow.
I picked that up, and I have to say, this movie reminds me a lot of Doom 3 rather than like
Interesting.
if you like, you know, classic Doom or like Doom 2016, like that's not what this movie is, you know. But it
Right.
does have some merit. It does relate to like other Doom titles, so
Yeah.
just
So let's
letting yeah.
no, no, no. I like that because again, I think there's obviously a fan base for Doom, which is why I'm interested about this film too, because I did read a lot of mixed reactions from people, a lot of negative stuff too. But again, for me, just like kind of jumping in, I thought the film itself was actually really intriguing. You know, it didn't necessarily break ground. It didn't um, provide like new horror, elements of things we've never seen before, but
Yeah.
it did provide a really, I think, a well-made product. You know, it reflected a lot of good production value. There was a lot of good, um, there was some good sound design. There was some decent acting. You know, I think like when you kind of break all that down and you remember that this is a VOD film, um, it did a lot more in succeeding than I think people do give it credit for.
I
Um,
totally agree. I totally agree. I think the fact that it's not like it's kind of like why people don't like Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat Annihilation or any video game movie. It's because like they don't have the properties or the IP in the movie so explicitly. But I kind of like once I kind of like took a step back and I totally agree with you. Like this movie does a lot of things that other movies do similarly. Like it's got the same premise to Resident Evil or Ghost of Mars, where like a marine comes down, they go and inspect. There's slowly but surely you get more and more zombie attacks or monster attacks, and yeah, it kind of ramps up. So like I agree with you, nothing new there, but I do agree with you in the sound. I agree with you in the makeup. I agree with you in the acting, and mostly importantly, the fucking settings. Like holy shit, like the set design was top notch.
oh yeah, dude, and especially that final act, or if you will, the final 10 minutes even.
Whew.
There's some really cool stuff that they did there. And I think a lot of people wanted that more throughout. But again, you got to remember, this is a straight to video film from Universal. So yes, there's some money behind it, but you got to remember they're not putting in the CGI budgets that they are for even the 2005 one,
Yeah,
which is already
yeah.
a 15-year-old film. And again, I think people should remember that film wasn't groundbreaking either. No one
No,
really left that movie saying, "Oh, this is the greatest action sci-fi horror film ever." It's like, no, people actually kind of made fun of that movie, I remember. Um and I think that there was merit to that though too. It had a solid cast. There was also some cool things they did with the camera and the first person vibe. Um
yeah. Oh, that was
but
lit.
yeah, exactly. So there was definitely like, things to applaud and things that they did really well. And I think that it does carry over somewhat to this film, even though it's not like a direct sequel or anything. Um,
Yeah.
but again, I don't think people should like technically write this movie off because I think while you might not watch it and think it's amazing, by the end of it though, I was like, cool. Yeah, especially that last 10 minutes made this thing kind of like worth it, like,
Same. Same.
yeah.
If it didn't have the last 10 minutes, I wouldn't think it was bad. I just would have thought it was a little bit like a missed opportunity. But that last 10 minutes, I think you're right. I think that's where all the budget went. And for Doom fans, like if you've ever played any Doom game, I think you'll appreciate that last 10 minutes. I think to me it was specifically reminded me of Doom 2016, which probably I have a feeling this movie, I can't back this up, but like something tells me this movie was made to drum up excitement for Doom Eternal.
Right. No, dude, I definitely believe that. It's part of the, not it's not that the movie's an advertisement, but it's part of the
Yeah.
process of marketing an IP like this, that's been around for a good bit of time, decades, I guess, realistically to say,
Yeah.
which is cool. I mean, like again, like I was never a diehard Doom video game player, but I played all the games at some point. I didn't beat all of them,
Yeah.
but I always enjoyed what the whole first person shooter was always a fun type of game, and especially when it's challenging, dude. When games are challenging, they get frustrating, but it sometimes motivates you to try even harder to put more time into it to beat it. So, um, what Doom has done, I think, for a lot of first person shooters is pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think this movie, I think with a bigger budget, it could have been really, really like it could have been a good video game movie. And I don't think it's a bad movie. Like I'm right there with you. I had a good time with it from beginning to end. Um, I just think that this is one of those things where it's like, did this movie would this movie have would it have been good without the Doom IP in the last 10 minutes, but called it something else and made it like a space zombie movie, like
Right?
it reminds me of like Stargate mixed with like Resident Evil or Ghost of Mars. And
Yes, the
I think
style
you could
especially
totally
too.
have made this movie. Yeah, you could have totally made this movie without the Doom IP. And I almost feel like if it didn't have the Doom IP, people would almost have received this movie a little bit better.
I agree, actually. That's a really good point. I think a lot of times that's unfortunate for a lot of movies, when they're binded, to a franchise or being a sequel or a soft reboot or, whatever, a spin-off. It can kind of hurt them sometimes because you get people like the purist fans, which again, I understand being passionate about it. They'll write it off because they're just like, no, this is not
Yeah.
what I want, or this is not what we thought it would be, so it's just not good. But
Yeah.
that's not, I don't agree with that personally.
Well, one thing I wanted to bring up was the fact that up until Doom Eternal coming out now, and maybe Doom 3, Doom never had any backstory. Your guy is called Doom Guy.
Right.
Um, so I think there's already a chat like an uphill challenge for a director making a Doom adaptation because there is no story. So,
Yeah, and the
and I
characterizations are all just whatever you can come up with.
yeah, yeah, there it all literally is like the characters from Alien in every other movie. And I think like I don't know. I start to wonder like I see what they were trying to do. They're trying to like give this like a new story in the Doom world where you could probably make a couple of these with different characters each time. I thought the main actress was excellent, by the way.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. I forget her name. Let me see. What was it? Is it Joan Dark, right? The Lieutenant.
Yeah,
Amy
yeah.
Mance played her. Yeah, she
Oh,
was really good. I mean, very believable.
there were a lot of moments too. That did pay fan service. So if you are a hardcore Doom fan, I respect the directors for like actually writing and like directing in these moments of like, the BFG. You have some guy say like, "This is I'm your ultra nightmare." I think an ultra nightmare, I think, is one of the difficulty settings in Doom.
Right.
And so there are certainly, and I heard that there's some Easter egg with her name. I forget what it is. I'm not sure if it's like another video game reference, but um,
That's awesome.
so the fans do get something. It's not a total money grab, which I appreciate.
Right. Yeah, I think that that's important too to remember that. Like, I think also though a big money grab or cash grab would also be if they, did an underdeveloped thing, story, whatever you want to call it, and pushed it to theaters, where they pumped in millions
Yeah,
and millions and millions of dollars and it had no soul, no heart, and it went to theaters, then people I think would be even more, obviously disappointed because more people would watch it on a more massive scale. But Yeah, I do think it's interesting too because like a lot of video game movies, the video game movies have a reputation of not being good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
people have sort of a stigma against video games in a lot of ways, especially fans, because they'll be like, "Oh, we haven't had one good video game movie," and every time a new one's coming out, everybody gets so hyped up, and then it comes out, and they're just like, "That was nothing like the game," or whatever. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, Assassin's Creed had all the hype in the world around it. I didn't see it, so I can't really
I
speak for that one.
I
But I
actually
just
own
remember,
that movie. I've never seen it.
oh wow, you have to let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but people are being very critical of video game movies as they should. I mean, I get it. Like, there's a fan base that they want to honor and fulfill and make happy, but this one I don't think was quite as awful, as people like to say. I
No,
thought it was
no.
cool for a VOD movie, like you said. Just to echo what you said before, though, and to go off that, if you go to IMDb and you go on the Doom Annihilation page, there's actually some really awesome screen grabs. There's some awesome BTS photos of the sets that they were working on, and man, the sets do look phenomenal. Even if they're not the biggest sets ever, like a Star Trek set or something, it's still really impressive.
Yeah, it's super ambitious. I mean, especially
Oh,
for like a budget like that and an IP like that. I I do think it's interesting that it didn't get a lot of money put into it with like the fact that the last Doom movie we got was the Doom with the one with like The Rock that they wouldn't, especially with like Doom Eternal coming out, people are hyped for it to not make
right.
like it would be even cooler to like bundle this movie with the game or something. Like maybe putting it to straight to VOD wasn't the best idea, but regardless, I think it's not a terrible movie.
That's really cool though to think that because that's actually a pretty interesting idea, and I think that would be kind of cool if more studios or companies tried to do that if they had things like this coming out as a way of not only promoting the video game, but as a sort of like an added bonus of like, hey, check it out, we got this exclusive movie that when you buy the game you'll get it, or you know what I mean? It's some sort of package.
I feel like
Uh,
that would have been received a lot better than just releasing it and then quickly just putting it to Netflix. But I don't know. Uh, so um, because we're quarantined, we're really hoping to get these episodes out a bit more because we both have some time now to watch some movies. So, Matt, I believe you found a film.
I did. I'm excited about it. I was looking, we were on Tubi because we know that it's accessible to everybody. If you have an internet connection, it's free. So um, I found this one. I ran it by you before, and I think we're both in agreement that the poster test it passes, as
Yes.
well as it's a cool title. It's called Between the Trees. It's from 2019. So I always like picking newer stuff if we can, or I don't always like it, but if we can find new stuff, it's fun to do that. So this one's from 2019. It's a horror film. It's 73 minutes long, and really cool poster. It's got two eyes at the top staring you down, with a forest type look behind it. So people silhouetted in the distance, and a guy up front holding an axe looking down. And it says it was supposed to be a weekend of fun.
Ooh,
So I like this kind of stuff. It looks to me like it's probably got a slasher element to it, or maybe there's some
yeah.
paranormal thing even. Who knows? But um, I'm excited though because it looks like it's got a good poster. They put some thought into it. It's probably a lower budget film, but I think it'll be like a good watch.
Yeah, I think for me the thing that really stands out is like if you look at all these posters, they can make an amazing image and be really cool, but a lot of horror movies use red and stuff like that. But this used blue and yellow and like bright orange, and it really stands out. What's funny is because
Completely.
I was looking at all the posters while we were talking earlier before this, and I came across this, and when you mentioned it, I remembered it. Um, sign
That's
me up.
awesome.
And you know
Yeah,
what?
that's awesome.
It was supposed to be a weekend of fun.
It's
It
supposed
was
to be a week.
supposed to be. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Yeah. I saw Kevin Smith said he's going to take this time to write Clerks 3,
That's what I'm talking about.
finish it up. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, no, I'm like super stoked about watching this one. We'll try to get on this one quick, I'm sure. And it'll be good to kind of get back into the swing of this, even if our whole world is on a lockdown, basically.
Now is there's no better time to listen to VodPod, your favorite podcast.
Yeah, I cannot echo you enough in your remarks, Tim. And I would say there is not a better time to become a fan of movies as well.
Become podheads with us.
I love it. Oh, that's great. Let's make some shirts for our 10 followers, our 3 followers. Sorry, let me correct myself now.
Where my
um,
fellow podheads at?
where
Um,
my pod heads at? We're getting our VOD on.
so, Matt, thank you again for joining me.
Oh,
This is
thanks.
exciting to get this back going. Um, and we both have had some issues watching some stuff. Hopefully, this kind of reignites that flame.
Yeah, no, I think it will. Work is work, but I think we will, in this time of, crisis that the world is kind of going through. I think we'll have some solitary moments where people can enjoy cinema in the comfort of their own homes with their loved ones.
Yes,
Um, and
yes,
I truly do hope everybody takes precautions seriously because this is responsibility. I think that is up to young people to take seriously because while you might not have symptoms or you might not feel these effects quite as well as bad personally as others will, it's our job to look after our peers and limit spreading this as much as possible.
yes. Be nice, be smart, be logical. Don't do anything stupid. Don't
Yeah,
fucking go to the bar today. It's
yeah,
St.
don't go to
Patrick's
the
Day.
bar, don't lick doorknobs, don't
Yeah.
cut old people in line, let old people in front of you at the grocery store. This is just
Yeah.
common sense. Treat everybody right.
All right, guys. Be safe. Matt, be safe. I'll see you next time.
Yes, definitely. Thank you, Tim. We'll see you soon, man.
All right, man.